We've got breaking news out of the NFL where the Chargers have made Rashawn Slater the highest paid offensive tackle in NFL history. It's a 4-year, $114 million extension for the all-pro left tackle. That's per multiple reports. His new deal also includes, get this, a record $92 million in guaranteed money. Slater is now signed in L.A. through the 2029 season. All right, and with that, let's bring in Emory Hunt, who, of course, has the Chargers helmets properly displayed for this segment here. Emory, welcome in, and I know you've been a busy man, so we appreciate you hopping on. Original or first thoughts when you heard this deal, especially the money?
Makes sense to get ahead of the curve, unlike what we're seeing in Dallas or Cincinnati, right? So if you identify a true talent that's a cornerstone of your football team, get out in front of it, pay him now, because 3 years from now, it'll look like a bargain. And then when you have to go back at the table maybe 3 years from now you can kind of figure out where he is as a pro and how much you want to spend. But it's always smart to get ahead of the curve, especially at these cornerstone type positions. He's a significant player for this Chargers offense.
You mentioned significant. How significant? Because everyone will look at this money and go, that's a lot of money. Is Slater, who is now the highest paid offensive tackle in NFL history, is he deserving of this deal?
Well, here's the thing. When we say highest paid offensive tackle in NFL history, it's kind of unique in terms of this tag is going to get used over and over again. So the money is going to continue to get bigger. The cap is going to continue to grow larger. And for him, for this offense, yes, he's worth it, because not only does he help you out in the passing game and pass protection, but he's also very good in the run game. Remember when he was coming out of college out of Northwestern, the big concern was, is he going to be a tackle or is he going to be a guard? Is he tall enough to play tackle? And he just became a Pro Bowler at tackle and has been outstanding since stepping foot in the NFL. So yes, he's totally worth it. And what you're paying now will look like a bargain in a few years from now. So yes, getting your guy locked up front that does it well on both ends of offense, to me, it's a significant deal.
So I got to imagine, Slater, he's got a big smile on his face today and every day moving forward because of what he's just able to agree to. But Jim Harbaugh, their head coach, he's got to be loving this too. They have the run-heavy offense. So how happy do you think he is right now that they get to keep this cornerstone, as you mentioned, along that offensive line and do the things he wants to do with that offense?
He and Justin Herbert are ecstatic right now for the passing game, and he and also those running backs are ecstatic as well, because when you think about having continuity up front, we always talk about continuity with the offensive line, secondary, maybe even some parts of the defensive front. But when you have the continuity of the 5 guys consistently playing well up front, especially locking down the best one of the bunch as you break in what you consider to be a future All-Pro and future Pro Bowler on the other side, and Joe Alt entering his second season, it makes life a lot easier for everybody. And this is the type of continuity you want to see. And it shows everyone in the locker room, hey, if I go out there and perform well, this organization will reward me, pay me, and keep me around for a long time.
All right, the building blocks for that offensive line and that offense are there in L.A. for sure. Emory Hunt, thank you so much for jumping in and breaking this down with us. Again, here is a look at the paydays that we've seen over the last few years for offensive linemen in terms of guaranteed money, and Slater now at the very top of that list, $92 million. He surpassed Tristan Wirfs in Tampa, Penei Sewell in Detroit, Trey Smith in KC, and Christian Darrisaw there in Minnesota. Again, the breaking news here, Rashawn Slater agreeing to a 4-year, $114 million.
We turn our attention to the insiders. Tom Pelissero, Judy Batista, Mike Garofolo standing by. Mike, I'll actually let you start off because there's one player in particular whose bank account just got a lot more big.
Yes, that's Rashawn Slater, Mike Yam, a 4-year, $114 million extension for the Chargers. Left tackle, $92 million guaranteed. We thought, would this be the deal that got the offensive tackle market to $30 million per year? Not quite. Gets to $28.5, but he is now the highest paid left tackle. Our guy Daniel Jeremiah, who does those Chargers games for radio, said, quote, Slater is a stud, excellent all-around left tackle with elite smarts and toughness. He plays hurt, never complains. Is a great example for young guys on the team. Happy for him and the Chargers. He has been all over Rashawn Slater since he was a draft prospect and wound up there with the Chargers. So, yeah, there have been offensive tackles that have gotten paid recently. There are more to come as well. But Slater setting the high mark on at the position at $28.5 million per year.
It's QB1 with the LA Chargers. Practice maybe ended an hour ago. Justin Herbert greeting the fans, stretching, making sure to get your lift in. How's your body feeling this offseason?
Yeah, doing well. Thankfully we've got such a great, strength staff that really take, full advantage of all the great equipment and programs we have here. And heading into the season feeling good.
Yeah, no, so they're talking about what happened after practice. You guys were doing conditioning, and I haven't seen that from a team ever, where everybody split up and was doing a little bit different conditioning. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so they gave us 4 options of what kind of conditioning drills we wanted to do based on, how you feel, and whether it's acceleration, whether it's, straight cardio or long distance striders. It's just picking something that you feel that you need to work on and giving us that opportunity.
And what is the thing that you like to work on?
Cardio. So running 25 yards and back, being able to do
Because
it.
just long drives. We're thinking long drives, eating up a lot of clock. You got to have your cardio up.
Yep, got to be able to run the ball, get back to the sideline, do everything we can. So
I've had a lot of conversations, like I said, with a bunch of teammates, some people in the training room, and they said, Justin, that you are on a whole nother level. Khalil Mack said himself, he's like, bro, I've been in this league for a long time, and I have never seen somebody this locked in, look this way. What switched for you, Justin? What was that turning point for you where now you have guys around you that's like, bro, he's on a whole nother level?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, and that's awfully nice of Khalil to say, and I think it's really easy for us to take a look at that, and because we've got guys like Derwin James and like, Khalil Mack leading the charge, and, there's nothing but to be locked in like that. They demand that from everyone, and that's my responsibility as a quarterback, as a leader on this team, to give everything that I have. Obviously, it didn't go our way, and, no one feels worse than I did last year, but we had a great opportunity to come back this offseason, put in all this work, and another chance to go play football.
We got an opportunity to talk to your head coach today, and always an enlightening conversation when you talk to Jim Harbaugh. What are some you know what?
Here, take my mic. Take my mic.
Justin says, take my microphone.
This family right here. What's up, y'all?
Derwin staying after practice as well.
You're from a fan, bro.
Wow.
Oh, so nice. It's Justin Herbert's face. Here, do you want us to ask this person the question instead?
He doesn't look
That's a
very
good
happy.
look.
I need this. I'm going to take it.
We spoke with Jim Harbaugh, and he's just so high on what you bring to the team. But I am wondering about how you yourself have changed the way you've tried to push your teammates. You're trying to get everybody lifted to a point of a playoff win, of pushing into the playoffs. How have you maybe changed the way that you are approaching your teammates to make sure that you guys are the new standard in the league?
Yeah, and it starts with what we did last year. I thought we did a lot of great things last year, and there's still so much room for improvement for us, and especially me at quarterback and everything that I can do offensively, and having a second year in this offense, we're already steps ahead of where we were last year, and now it's just fine-tuning that, really understanding exactly what Greg Roman wants when he calls a certain play, and I think we've done a great job of that in OTAs and heading into camp so far. It's just building off of that.
Justin, what are your goals? What are your goals for this year? Because I'm pushing, like with GMFB, we just had a segment yesterday where I'm pushing for you as a candidate to be the MVP. That's how much of a fan I am of Justin Herbert. But what are your goals personally going into this year?
Yeah, I've always tried to stay away from statistical goals. I think if you want to include wins, I think wins are our number one priority. Winning as many games as we can and scoring touchdowns. And if we're doing that as an offense, and if I'm doing that as a quarterback, then we're going to have a lot of success. Whether it's passing yards, touchdowns, completions, it really just comes down to wins and scoring touchdowns.
We were marveling at the sheer size of the line on both sides of the ball during practice. Is this the most proud you have been of the group in front